Howdy y'all, and welcome to another episode of Sweet Tea in a Movie. This time we're talking about Riddick. I don't need eyes that can see in the dark to see how great Sweet Tea is. That was really lame, I'm sorry. Alright, so I want to apologize for not having a review up last week. All I saw was Pacific Rim, which, spoiler alert, it's awesome. 9 out of 10. Go see it forever. I've already seen it twice. It's amazing. Seriously, go see it, please. But this week I saw Riddick, and to preface this whole review, I've not seen any of the Riddick movies. I know, I'm sorry. Yet another series of films that I haven't seen yet. But I realized going into the movie that I had something unique to give it, which was a fresh perspective, and that turned out to be kind of valuable. Because I like to try to judge movies by themselves, unless it's been a long-standing series like Star Wars or Harry Potter or something like that. So let's just go ahead with this fresh perspective and review the movie. First off, let's talk about the acting. Now, of course, Vin Diesel reprises his role as Riddick, and he does a really good job in this movie. He brings a really great performance to the character, makes him very likable in the very beginning of the movie, and then just has some really great one-liners throughout the movie, and just you grow to like the character despite whatever past he's had. Matt Nable, who plays Boss Johns in this movie, also brings a really good performance as a father looking for answers, and I like that. It was good. And the two had really good play off of each other near the end of the movie, like around the middle of Act 3, something like that, or start of Act 3, whatever. This movie's got kind of weird acts. Vin Diesel and Matt Nable, they did a great job. Everybody else was just kind of like, they weren't bad, but they were decent. But good job for Vin Diesel and Matt Nable. Props. Next is the story, which I liked the story, actually. It's mostly because of how it's structured. The beginning of the movie, which I kind of agree that it could have been cut, but I'm really glad they didn't. It starts out really as like a survival movie, because Riddick is stranded on this planet, and he needs to survive. He needs to try to get past this one really dangerous obstacle, and it's really cool how they show how he gets past it, and just the process and the steps, and the very nature of being in his head through all of it, and it's just really an interesting way to start the movie, and I'm glad they started it this way. As far as the rest of the movie, it's pretty good for action flick standards. I like stealth-based stuff, and Riddick is really good at that, and the way he kills off his enemies, though very gruesome, I gotta say, is pretty cool. But, like I said, gruesome, this movie has some really graphic violence. Like, you know that face you make when you see a skateboarder take a bail on, like a stairwell or something like that, on the railing, and have an accident? Yeah, I made that face a few times. It wasn't good. Overall, pretty good story. Probably could have just been shortened up here and there. Music. I got nothing. I really don't. Nothing to talk about. Sorry. And then, settings and cinematography. Now, the settings in this movie, if you remember the movie 300, how some of it looked really cool and some of it looked very obviously like a green screened soundstage, it's like that. Especially in this movie where it looks pretty obvious. But at the same time, the settings still do look really good, especially when you get to see the sky and how much time and attention was put into the art for that. And it looks really good, and I really like it a lot. It just, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it just looks really good, and it's interesting. So yeah, the settings are really cool for the stranded planet. It's got its color, but it's also appropriate for sort of a desert-looking planet, and I just like it. It looks good. Although, I gotta say, I can't really say anything about the camera team because it was pretty standard camera work, you know, close-ups, medium shots, stuff like that. Just nothing really impressive that sticks out in my mind. There's some cool-looking shots, but because of the nature of the movie, it's not really the camera team's credit. It's more so the animators and the CG work and everything. But, you know, at least they didn't mess up. So at least good, solid camera work. Nothing too innovative, but, you know. So overall, fairly good jobs on the settings and the cameras. Now I gotta say, for anybody interested in seeing this movie definitely deserves its R rating. Because there's foul language, of course. There's really graphic violence, like I described earlier. The "oh" face that you make a couple times. And one little gripe I have that's been sitting on my mind for a while. There's a character in the movie called Doll. I feel like she's not represented well as a woman because it almost seems like most of the guys in the movie just see her as like a piece of meat to ogle. And I'm not really cool with that. It's tropey and it's I mean, it's 2013. We can write women better now. To their credit, she is really tough. She slugs a few guys in the face for making bad comments, which I love. That she, you know, she's like, hey, don't say that or I'll mess you up. And she does get some good one-liners, and she's got a couple important parts in the movie, but it's still underdeveloped for a woman in 2013. So that really, it's a gripe. It's a well-justified gripe. Right people, not stereotypes. So with all that said, what do I think about the movie? As somebody with a fresh perspective on the movie, I liked it. I found it very fun, but it's definitely not one of the best movies of the year by any means. There's problems with the script. There's definitely problems with some of the characters, but it's still enjoyable and fun to watch. Mostly as sort of a mindless action flick with a really interesting beginning. Very sort of an introverted look into Riddick's mind during the beginning, and I like that a lot. So with all that said, what do I score this movie? I give it a 6 out of 10. Now some people would look at that number and be like, that's bad. Not on my scale. 5 is average, 6 is above average. The movie's above average. You know, it's nothing spectacular, it's nothing great or really good, it's just above average. You can enjoy watching it with some friends or even by yourself, but, you know, it's not going to be nominated for anything. I don't know if people are going to be talking about it for a while. But it's still fun to watch, and if you want to see it on a big screen, go ahead for a discount. Despite its problems, Riddick is still a fairly fun movie. You just gotta turn your brain off a little bit. So that's it, I'm done. Peace out.